You asked for a free.
Yes, look at that. You gave me a whole.
You want it out of it?
My fucking staff's supposed to make fucking money, huh?
So raise your price.
Huh?
Look at this shit. 30% on the low end, mid-range 40% tip, and then 50% tip.
25-year-old Tamlin Yoder is still in disbelief that she lost her job over.
If you can't afford to tip properly, you do not need to be going out to dinner.
Tipping culture in North America has officially gone off the rails. 18% is now treated as the bare minimum. Some places push 40 or 50%, and people still feel pressured to tip, even for bad service. And all of this is happening while we pretend tipping is still optional. It's not. Customers are getting guilt-tripped, orders are basically held hostage, and companies are sneaking in fees that make no sense at all. So I'm going to show you just how ridiculous and predatory this system has become, why so many people are finally pushing back, and why it's time to question the entire tipping culture altogether.
Check it out, guys. This is how we pay here in America. You can see all the three options for tipping. 20% used to be the high end, 18% was okay service, and 15% was just, your baseline. But now they want 25%, which...
If you guys thought that was bad, look at this shit. 30% on the low end, mid-range 40% tip, and then 50% tip. These people are trying to charge us an extra half of the original price as tip. Now, this tipping culture is getting out of hand. Look, I'm all for tipping, except maybe when I'm going to pick up at a store. If I'm not sitting down in that store, I don't think there's any need to tip. Yeah, if you're sitting out at a store or you're getting food delivered to you, yeah, it's good to tip. Back in the day, 12 to 15% used to be like a really good tip. Now it's looking like you don't even have that options in some stores. Look at this. These restaurant owners are getting richer and richer while we as the customers, we have to pay the employees' salary. These corporations need to pay their employees a better salary, and they should stop guilt-tripping us into paying salaries for them. What do you guys think of this crazy rise in tipping prices or tipping percentages?
18% as the new minimum tip is getting ridiculous. When I was a kid in Canada, the suggested tip option started around 10%, maybe up to 15%. Now the lowest option is 18%, and some places push 30, 40, or even 50%. Meanwhile, service has not changed and people's salaries are not keeping up with inflation. There's also a huge misconception about tipped workers. Yes, they can legally be paid below minimum wage, but federal law requires employers to make up their difference if their tips do not bring them to minimum wage. In other words, they are guaranteed at least minimum wage no matter what. So the argument that we must tip to ensure they are earning a living wage is simply not true. Once you remove that argument, their situation is really the same as any other minimum wage worker. Now, if the real issue is that minimum wage itself is too low, that's a different debate, and I get that. But tipped workers are not uniquely underpaid, and in many cases they make far more than minimum wage because of tips. Now, there is also confusion about what tipping was originally meant for. Taking orders and bringing food is the basic job, which is what they're already paid to do. A tip was meant for service that felt above and beyond, yet American-style tipping has inflated so much that it's spreading into countries like in Europe, where service staff already earn fair wages. This whole system really needs to be questioned. Now, this is one of the worst parts of tipping culture. Apps like DoorDash are basically holding your order hostage by warning you that if you do not tip, your food may arrive very late or not at all. You're basically being pushed to tip before you receive anything, which makes no sense because tipping was supposed to reward above and beyond service. Tipping before service is turning into a system of pressure instead of appreciation.
If you're not going to tip when you go out to a restaurant, stay the fuck home. The excuses of I can't afford it or they should be paying their servers more aren't going to fly here. If you can't afford to tip properly, you do not need to be going out to dinner. And this is coming from someone who at one point could not afford to tip, so I stayed home. When you don't tip, you are literally taking money out of the pockets of those servers. And by going to restaurants that rely on this type of service, you are perpetuating the problem. You can't say you want them to be paid more and then go into a restaurant that people rely on tips for and not tip. You not giving a tip is not going to make the owner pay the servers more. You saying, I don't tip because servers should be paid more is just an excuse not to tip. And baby, if you're cheap, just say that. But going to a sit-down restaurant, knowing full well you're not going to tip, you should tell the server right up front. If you can be so bold as to not leave a tip or not leave an appropriate tip, you should be so bold to say it to their face. Tell them, you can serve me food, clean up after me, but I'm not going to tip you because I don't agree. You should get bare bones service for that. Going out to eat is a luxury, not a necessity.
Now, saying that people who cannot afford to tip should stay home proves that you see tipping as mandatory. If that is the case, it should be listed as a required fee on the menu. Do not present tipping as optional and then shame people for choosing the option that you gave them. Now, she says not tipping takes money out of servers' pockets, but if they're guaranteed minimum wage, that logic makes no sense. By that argument, not tipping a grocery cashier or an employee who helps you find an item is also harming them. Those workers provide service too, often beyond their job duties, yet no one claims we owe them tips. Applying this logic only to restaurant staff is inconsistent. Now, I actually disagree with her point that by not tipping, it won't push owners to pay more. If tipping dropped across the board, servers would be unhappy with their earnings and either demand higher pay or quit. That pressure would force restaurant owners to raise their wages. And the fact that over 2,000 people liked this guy's comment on this exact video saying that tipping is optional, it just goes to show how unhinged this lady really is. Okay, so here's another example. Another comment with more than 2,000 likes that is not just people silently agreeing, those are people actively pushing back against tipping culture. This comment sums up the whole issue. Why is extra pay for service treated as unique to servers and not to pilots, nurses, paramedics, teachers, or doctors? Many of them have direct one-to-one interactions and do far more important work, yet we do not normalize tipping them.
How much do you tip in New York City?
I normally tip 20-25%. I think the tipping culture sucks. I wish it was baked into salaries.
I try to be as gracious as possible unless the service was absolutely abhorrent. Then I'll tip a little bit. But I always tip something.
Like 20%. To be honest, in Europe, there isn't a huge tipping culture. So it's not a really demanding thing. Maybe like €1 or €2 if they're really nice. But other than that, nothing.
20% at least. 18%, but my mom raised me thinking that it was 15%.
20% everywhere, always.
And do you think it's getting out of hand?
Yes, I should not be asked to tip if I'm getting Starbucks. If they aren't going to come and serve you, then I don't think that you should tip.
It is wild how everyone in this interview clearly dislikes tipping culture but still feels pressured to follow it. One girl says she tips 20% everywhere, no matter what. Another says she only tips less if service is really terrible, meaning she still tips for mediocre or bad service. Tipping is no longer about rewarding above and beyond service. It has become a system that pressures people into paying more. Period. There's no other argument. And it's probably no coincidence that a subreddit dedicated to ending tipping culture gets over 200,000 visits every week. People are clearly fed up. This kind of thing is exactly why people are fed up. A Waffle House location added a 20% fee on takeout orders, including 10% for a server who never served you, plus another unexplained to-go fee. When you pick up your own food, the server has no table to manage or clean, which actually saves the business money, yet they charge extra for it. It's ridiculous.
Clearly, you.
Whoa, hey, don't be over it.
You
Don't.
had me come out here 3 different times just to fill your stupid water cup. You asked for a free
Yes,
lemon.
look
Yeah.
at that. You gave me a whole.
Yeah,
Put your
you want a
fingers out of
lemon?
it.
You want a lemon? There you go.
Are
There's
you
your lemon.
kidding me? Are you serious?
Because he wanted a lemon.
This one is unbelievable. He should be fired for sticking his hands in a customer's water glass, which is completely unhygienic, first of all, but claiming he deserved a tip because he had to serve the table 3 times, something that is literally his job, is absurd. And this behavior is disgusting. Walmart is now doing the same thing. Even with a paid subscription, you are pushed to add a tip just to get your order picked up. They'll even let orders sit without warning customers, which I guess could ruin perishable items. But it makes no sense, and it's so frustrating to see this really just becoming the norm.
Did you want to leave a tip? No? Vaccine, girl.
Look, I sympathize that she probably does not want to work delivery at her age, but that does not excuse throwing the pizza boxes at him when he declined to tip. She should not be asking for a tip in the first place. It's optional and should never be pressured. Now, her behavior just completely unacceptable.
A Canadian restaurant hit its no tip option to force tipping, and people on social media aren't being shy about their feelings towards it. A sticker covered up the no tip option, leading to photos of the payment machine being shared on Reddit. The person who posted the photo also noted that the restaurant didn't have staff waiting tables, just a cashier. Would you boycott a restaurant for hiding the no tip option?
To me, hiding the tipping option to trick customers into tipping is wildly unethical and borders on theft since it removes their ability to choose. I'm not sure about the legal side, but it should be illegal if it's not already.
Hey, bro, what do you want, bro? What do you want? I pay for my food. I pay for my food. What are you talking? Why are you following me down the fucking street? Nigga, you need to get the fuck back. What are you gonna do? You need to get back. Why are you following me? Why are you following me? What do you think? Why are you following me? What are you gonna do? Call 911. Call 911. If you need to settle something, you know who to call.
You yell at me.
I'm not trying to fuck with you, bro.
You shut your goddamn fucking mouth, man.
Why are you following me down the street?
You piece of shit, little piece
Bro,
of shit, man.
I pay for my food.
I'll smack the shit out of
Bro,
you, punk ass, man.
I pay for my food, bro.
Piece of shit.
I pay for my food.
How the fuck do you think
Bro,
they make money?
I pay for my
piece of shit,
food.
huh?
I
How
pay
my
for my
fucking
food.
staff supposed to make fucking money, huh?
So raise your price,
Huh?
No.
Why'd you follow this man?
Chill out, bro. You need to calm down, bro.
You
Why
fucking
you
raise your
following me
goddamn
down the
voice
street,
at me, huh?
Bro, you need to get back. You trying to back me into a corner. You trying to back me into a corner, bro.
What is wrong with you, bro?
What are you doing? What are you doing, bro? And now you mad because I won't tip you and you follow me down the street?
I'm supposed to fucking make money.
Okay, so raise your prices,
They don't
dude. That's
get
not
money
my
like
problem.
that, you fucking
I know
shit.
you
Niggas
not.
don't
I
look
know.
like
So
that.
don't serve me.
Aside from how unhinged this guy sounds, the idea that his staff cannot make money unless customers tip is absurd. The answer is simple. He should pay them. No other industry cuts employees' wages and expects customers to make up the difference. It is ridiculous that this mindset is treated as normal, uniquely in restaurants. Now, the comments on this video are unbelievable. The first person is totally right. People should know to avoid a restaurant where a server might stalk someone over a tip or come out and violently yell at you. The person saying both sides are wrong is completely off. Tipping is optional and only the restaurant owner behaved badly. Now, another commenter says the server deserves to be mad, but why side with someone demanding money that they are not owed? And the idea that customers must tip because servers live off their tips ignores the real issues. Wages are the employer's responsibility and not the customer's.
25-year-old Tamlin Yoder is still in disbelief that she lost her job over a takeout order. A local church ordered $735 worth of food that she had to prepare.
25 steaks, 25 potatoes, 25 chickens.
When people from the church came to pick up the food, Tamlin loaded all the entrees into the car. Then church members left her high and dry with no tip.
I was super mad. I was angry, you know, because that's such a large order and we have to take so much out of our time. It took almost an hour to put everything together.
So she went on social media expressing her frustration on Facebook. The church quickly became aware of the situation and called the restaurant to make things right. The next day, when Tamlin showed up for work, she got a pink slip. In disbelief, Tamlin's mother posted on social media the chain of events, and the story has reached all corners of the country. And now, Tamlin hopes people realize that for so many people, every penny counts.
As takeout, we still make server minimum wage. We are making $5 an hour. And that's not even 2 gallons of gas.
Look, I'm ending off this one because it is the most absurd. A girl expected a tip for doing exactly what she was hired and paid to do, putting food in the bag and preparing the order. The customers even picked it up themselves. She went online to shame the church and damage their reputation and was later fired. So do you think that was justified, or should the church have tipped even though she only did her standard job duties? Let me know down below in the comments. But listen, tipping culture has gotten so out of control that it is no longer just a North American problem. It's starting to spread into Europe too. People keep arguing that if restaurants paid fair wages, prices would skyrocket and the whole business model would collapse. But that really makes no sense at all. Countries like the United Kingdom In Australia, they already do this. Tipping is rare and their restaurants operate just fine while paying their staff properly. And the common claim that servers earn less than minimum wage if you do not tip is simply false. Employers are legally required to make up the difference, so that is just simply not happening. The issue is with the business, not the customer. Okay, go ahead and subscribe if you like this breakdown, and do tell me in the comments below if you think that tipping culture in North America has gone too far.